Welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com. Three things. I'm staff writer Chelsea Siffel. This is staff publisher Andrew Jones. We are here at Keenan Memorial Stadium following Carolina's game to the Pittsburgh Panthers. Pitt 34, Carolina 24. And AJ, the first of our three things we're going to talk about to Carolina's loss is third down conversions with these explosives, especially in the second half. Carolina's defense just couldn't cover it.
Yeah, we got two parts to this. We got the explosives that they allowed, and then, of course, the third down defense, especially in the second half. The explosives set up scores. Carolina did some nice things in sequences, but they couldn't close the deal enough. And when you have miscommunication or a guy just gets beat or someone's trying to overplay and compensate for somebody else, that's when you give up big plays. And we spoke to Elijah Huzzy after the game, and he kind of said, yeah, it's a little bit of all three. So it's going to be part Pitt making plays, although a couple times there were some not poorly thrown, but mediocre thrown balls that were converted for long plays. Carolina just didn't play them well. DBs don't turn their heads, whatever the case may be. And you got to figure big plays of 46 that led to score, 43 led to a field goal in the first drive, 72 led to a touchdown. And then they had another drive in which they had a 23-yard run or play on 3rd and 9, and the next play scored from 30 yards out. They just got massive chunks. And you're not going to win football games if you give up massive chunks. And because of that, it affected the way the offense called plays. It affected Carolina going for fourth downs, and we'll get into that in a minute. And what happened is when they gave it the big chunks, it gave Pitt a cushion. So when Carolina had third down, had them on a third down, even a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, Pitt was able to score. They were 8 for 10 on third downs in the second half. 1 for 6 in the first half, 8 for 10 in the second half on third down. They missed on their last one, so they actually had a stretch where they converted like 6 in a row. And that was the decisive part of the game into the fourth quarter when Pitt had the long drives. And by the way, it is sweaty here again. You can see the nice bright ray there. Maybe you don't see me as well. That will make our video numbers go
We'll
up.
cover it up.
Absolutely. Look, you cannot get – we've talked about this so many times, Chelsea.
Yeah.
For years watching this program play football, it doesn't matter who the defensive coordinator is at this point. As Kevin Roy, who has missed the game today because he's recovering from cancer. He had chemo yesterday, so he couldn't shoot the game. He texted and said, the defensive offices in the Keenan Football Center are cursed. Maybe, maybe not, but I know this much. It doesn't matter. It doesn't look like it matters who the defensive coordinator is. Doesn't matter if you blitz a lot, what the scheme is. Doesn't matter if you call the guy hybrid, if you call him a jack, if you call him a rush. They're going to give up big plays. They're going to make a couple good plays, make it look like, boy, these guys do have some ability. There's some talented football players or athletes over there. And then, boom, they give up a big play. It nullifies all the good. And then in the second half, with Pitt just converting on those third downs, when you give up big plays and you can't stop people on third down, which is called the money down, and we were joking up in the press box today, it should be called the promissory note down. You're not a good football team. You're not a good defense if you give up the big plays and you can't stop people on third down. That's getting off the field. That's football. That's keeping teams from scoring. And quite frankly, you would think when you look at the numbers, Pitt probably should have scored more than 34 points in this game. So what can you say? I think Max, look, we got to go back and look at the film. We got to figure out what went wrong. We got to figure out whose mistakes they were, if it was communication, if it was something that broke down before the snap. That wasn't an issue the first few games. They looked good in pre-snap. They don't look great in pre-snap anymore. We've seen this for 3 straight weeks, especially last week in the second half at crunch time when Duke reeled off 267 yards in an 18-minute span. I think this is who the defense is, which means that Carolina is going to have to outscore people moving forward to win games, and I'm not sure they have the components offensively to do that. So this is a troubling defensive performance against a quarterback playing his 5th game in college. And I know Pitt's good. I know Holstein's the best QB they've played, but still his 5th game. It's his 2nd road game. Maybe if some people showed up, they could have gotten some noise going on here and maybe gotten them rattled a little bit. Didn't happen. Really bad defensive performance and a defense that appears to be going in the wrong direction.
Couldn't have said it better. And AJ, you named some of those drives earlier, and correct me if this is no longer accurate to the end of the game, but for a while, UNC had given up at least 30-yard plays on each of Pitt's scoring drives for a while.
Yeah.
So,
So 43, 72, 30, and 46.
Yeah.
And then the 23 and 30 back-to-back on their fifth scoring drive. And then on the last scoring drive, when they got that field goal, there's punching third downs, man. 3rd and 6, no problem. We're just going to run right at you. Eli Holstein had runs of 24 and 20 yards on that drive. The quarterback. One of them he converted a 3rd down, a 3rd and 9. The other one he converted a 2nd and 9. And then he converted another 3rd down. So
yeah,
if somebody would have come in from another part of the country that doesn't follow this program and watched the team today, something's going on. You can hear the sirens.
Not good.
And watch this team today, or maybe the last 3 weeks, they would say this is not a good defense.
Yeah.
They don't adjust real well during games. And maybe they're coming after me because I'm so, hot and sweaty here. They would just say they're a good defense.
Yeah.
I think the offense did some positive things.
It's the only way to say it.
Yeah,
not a good defense.
Not a good defense. It is what it is.
Sugarcoat it.
Three defensive coordinators. The kids said all the right things to Jeff Collins. We saw positives early. Have not seen them the last 3 weeks.
No.
They still have time. They're only halfway through the season. The ACC is what it is. Wake won at State today. Virginia pounded BC with Castellanos. I mean, the ACC is a crapshoot, but you're going to have better chances to win games that are crapshoots if you don't give up massive chunk plays and if you can't get off the field on 3rd down. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. Well, moving on to the other side, unfortunately still not a positive. We have to talk about Carolina's failed 4th downs, especially inside the 10. UNC was 2 of 6 in the 4th down, or fourth quarter.
2 for 6. 2 for 6. Yeah.
Just couldn't get it done.
Yeah. And they couldn't get on 3rd downs, too. In fact, they had 2 possessions in a row where they ran 29 offensive plays and scored 3 points. They had 19 plays and then 10 got 3 points. On the first drive with 19 plays, they have they go for it on 4th down, inside the 10, 7, I believe it was. Didn't get it. People said, hey, you should have run the ball. Well, they did it later in the game, and they ran the ball to Amari and didn't get it then either. People say, oh, you should have thrown the ball. Whatever. The bottom line is they didn't get the first downs. Now, Max said after the game, they didn't think that they didn't think that field goals were going to win it. They had to score touchdowns. A chance to beat Pitt. And I asked him in response to that, I asked him about the 4th down decisions, and I said, is this maybe a lack of faith in the defense or something else? He said, well, it's Holstein, it's Pitt's offense. Pitt is so much better and so much different offensively now than it's been since Kenny Pickett was there, and that showed. But it has to be a lack of faith in the defense to a degree, because you take points there. You go 19 plays. A team that scored 3 points in the last 2.5 quarters at Duke last week, you go 19 plays, you got to get points.
You
got to kick it.
81 yards there.
81 yards, you got to get points. You got to reward the offense for something. Then in the 4th quarter, they get inside the 10-yard line. They face a similar situation. They run the ball to Amarian. He didn't make it. Jacoby Criswell told us today after the game that he thought maybe he did because he ran kind of right up Aiden Banfield's backside on that. And I think Aiden may have gotten banged up on that play. I'm not sure. And he wasn't given the first down. Again, take points. It was 31-24 at that time, I believe, or 31-24. You take the points, go 31-27, put yourself in position. You score a touchdown, you get a stop, score a touchdown, you win the game. And then even the last offensive play of the game, it's 4th and 8, 4th and 7 at the 31. That's a 48-yard field goal for Noah Burnett. Noah Burnett has missed one field goal in between the 40s in the last 2 seasons. He told us multiple times his range is 55 yards. There's a minute 11 left. Kick the field goal, go down by a touchdown, 34-27, try an onside kick. And then you got a minute on offense, try to get in the end zone.
You could have got done.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what Mac's reasoning is. I'm more a guy that says take the points.
Yeah, missed opportunities.
Field goals may not have won this game, but they won you the Minnesota game, took the points that night, and you won the game. Teams that get points. Now, sometimes you have to settle for a field goal. It's like, they should have had more. They left points on the field. But when you have a 19-play drive, and the offense is still trying to find its identity, and you've got a quarterback who went from being told he wasn't going to play and showed up to fall camp 20 pounds overweight, who's now your quarterback. He's the 3rd teamer, and now the 1st teamer. You've got to reward 19 plays, 81 yards with a field goal. And it could have made a difference in the game how things were done later as they went about it. So I think that's a big deal. There are many other reasons why they didn't win this game. They could have kicked both field goals in those situations, still lost. So we don't know. But I just think you got to get points. When you're that close, you got to get points.
Absolutely. Well, AJ, considering the explosives, considering the fourth down, Carolina is 0-2 in the ACC. This is their third loss in a row. What does this mean moving forward? We've got Georgia Tech next week, again home at noon. What do we think?
I think that things are in a little bit of trouble right now.
Yeah.
People didn't show up to his homecoming today.
No.
And to quote my friend Taylor Zarzer from the SEC Network and the Golf Network, you could throw a grenade in parts of this stadium today and it would have gone off and no one would have gotten hurt because there were swaths. That
poor crowd.
There was nobody there.
Nobody
there. I mean, if you would have just narrowed your focus, you would have thought it's the COVID era. The crowd, they listed it at 46. I would say maybe 35 in the second half. I'd say 22 to 25. It was a terrible showing. I think fans should show up. I think it's a bad crowd. I think they should show up. I do understand how not showing up is a statement against the coach, and the AD sees it, the bean counters see it, and the AD is a bean counter. I get all that, but I still think fans should show up because you don't have that many opportunities to see football games every fall. It's like 6, 7 home games a year. You should show up. But I'm not a fan. I'm a writer, so it's easy for me to say that. I think when you look at the crowd, when you look at how it's giant plays and can't stop on third down, and when you look at an offense that just wasn't able to get the plays it needed when it needed most, it's a team that's struggling. They weren't ravaged by penalties. Pitt had a lot of penalties in a stretch today. But they lost by 10 points at home.
Yeah.
To a team that hadn't won here in eons. So 3-3, they've lost 3 different ways the last 3 weeks. I don't think this is as ugly or embarrassing or however you want to describe it as the last 2 weeks were. 2 weeks ago, JMU was probably a landmark moment around here. And last week against Duke was sort of an exclamation mark on that. Today was, this is kind of what they are. They're a 34-24 loser to Pitt at home. That's kind of who they are. And they're going to have to try to find wins, being that kind of team moving forward. And with Georgia Tech coming in, Tech's got a really good quarterback, probably a better quarterback, a veteran kid. They got a lot of parts. They've beaten Carolina 3 times in a row. They'll be playing for something significant. Who knows? Maybe Carolina turns the tables on them this time. But there'll be fewer people here. Today was homecoming.
Yeah.
Today was homecoming. You could chuck rocks blindfolded in the stands and not hit anybody. Next week, there'll be fewer people here because another noon game.
Yeah.
So I think what it means is Carolina football 2024 is in trouble.
I think so too.
This past week, I was looking at scenarios to say, okay, maybe there is a path to changing this thing. And perhaps it's still there, but, Virginia beats BC, so UVA looks better today. BC doesn't look as good. There's some bad teams ahead on the schedule. But I think right now an objective observer, totally impartial, with no dog in the fight, either as a fan or as someone who's around the program like me, would say this is a bad football team or not a very good one, or a mediocre at best one. I would think that that's what people would say, and I wouldn't argue with that. Can they get better? Yes, because Jacoby, I thought, did some really good things today. We saw Carolina use him with the run, a couple of quarterback draws that got them some nice chunks. Omarion had a 100-yard game.
Yeah.
Nate McCullum finally broke out. I thought there was some nice ball. A little bit better passes to Kobe Paysar. He would have had a big game. This could have maybe been a little bit of a different game. So I do think the offense has made some progress, even with all of its issues up front. And with Jacoby just still learning. He's a 5th-year guy. He's green, is super green. So I don't see how the defense flips the switch now. I don't. Why? Because it's 3 weeks in a row. We thought they did it at Duke. It was such an impressive first half for this program because they cut the cord to the humiliation of the week before, but then it came back. It's like JMU came back and sprinkled dust all over Wallace Wade Stadium. Today it was just kind of intermittent little sprinklings. 72-yard play. JMU game. 46-yard play. JMU game. 14 and you failed. JMU game. That kind of thing. So I think JMU will haunt them for a while. So will Duke, and maybe so will this. They're 3-3. Their chances of playing in the ACC championship game mathematically are still there, but I don't think anybody who understands this sport in the slightest would project them to do that. If they're wrong, I will gladly eat my words. But they got a lot of work. Mac's got a lot of work to do. It's not a good look.
Yeah,
Mac knows that the phones are on him. We know what people want to read about and hear about. They want to talk about Mac. We probably should have asked, one of us should have asked a question about the crowd today. Didn't do it. Shame on us. Sometimes you go in there, you have a few things you want to ask because of stories we're going to write.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't think of those other things. It happens. And
we'll ask about it next game if the crowd doesn't show up.
Well, yeah, and there'll be fewer people here.
Yeah.
Because Georgia Tech won't travel.
Yeah, no.
So there'll be fewer people here. Noon, the CW. This place will be quiet as a church mouse kickoff. So,
well, after today's game,
and I'm sorry, one more thing, Chelsea. That's an indictment on where things are. I get it, guys. People tweeting at me and texting me and DMing me and emailing me and all that kind of stuff. I get it. I understand what's going on. I try to be as fair and balanced as I can because it's not like this is the John Bunning era. It's not like this is the end of Fedora, but this is a bad look coming off of the way last season closed. I get it. And I promise you that people in the athletic department get it as well. This situation needs to be fixed in the season to close well in order for these conversations to go away. And if they don't, they're only going to heat up and intensify.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more, AJ. I mean, Heels aren't looking good. I don't want to say they're stuck, but I mean, this is not a good position.
They're in a tough spot. They almost, as a team and program, it's almost like they're running in mud. There's some good stuff that you see, but it's never. There's not enough of it.
Never fully there.
Yeah, you get pressure on a quarterback 7 or 8 times. That's great. But you need 12 or 13 against this kind of guy, against that kind of offense, to slow them enough to give yourself a chance to score enough points to win. They don't do that. They're almost. I don't want to say
you don't win.
Yeah, I think they found a way to lose today in some respects. They feel like they did some good things, and they did. And Max said they're going to focus on the good and not so much focus on the bad. But, man, the bad keeps showing up. You got to fix it. Yeah. You got to correct it. Or put people out there and get other people out there and give them a chance to see if they can do it themselves.
Absolutely. Well, I can say win or lose next week, we'll be here with another 3 things. And AJ, I don't know if you've put this on the boards yet, but do you want to share a message about Tylee Craft?
Oh, yeah, Tylee Craft. If you're still on here, thank you, Chelsea. Tylee Craft is in tough shape right now. He's in the hospital. He went there this morning. They thought he was going to be at the game. Mac found out after the game. Sally told him, I think after he did his interview with Jones Angel on the radio, that Tylee's in the hospital, and Mac started breaking up. This is real life. This is more important than fourth downs and chunk plays. And Mac choked up, and the spokesman for the team, for the program, came over and talked to you and me afterward and told us that this is a very serious situation. So if you pray, please pray for Tylee, pray for the people around here, because he means a lot to them. Over in a basketball program, he was doing stuff with the basketball program last year. Everybody who has come across Tylee has said nothing but very positive, warm things. My experiences with him have been fantastic. And I'll tell you guys this, and I don't mind saying this. Most of you know that our photographer, Kevin Roy, was diagnosed a month ago with cancer, and he's been going through chemotherapy. I waited a few days for Kevin's okay to tweet something out to get prayers for Kevin. The very first person who responded to Kevin was Tylee Craft. He sent him a DM and said, hey, man, let's support each other. Let's hold each other up. So that's the kind of young man Tylee Craft is. So he deserves your prayers, and ask all your prayer warriors and have them ask people to pray for Tylee, because that is so much more important than what happened out here today.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better, AJ. Tar Heel Illustrated family's praying for him, and to those viewers, if you pray, pray, and have those nice words. But we'll conclude it there with that message. Thank you to the viewers, and continue to have those in your thoughts and prayers. We'll be back next week.
Thank you.